The Progressive Era in the United States was a time when there was a lot of social and political activism in hopes to make the government better. There were many social programs, but they were lacking many things. These programs often didn't give assistance to people who were poor and often discriminated against minorities. There were programs for things such as workers' compensation, mothers' pensions, protections for female workers, and juvenile courts. During this time, most states had programs for mothers' pensions. A majority of single moms in the Progressive Era were widows. Progressive reformers especially helped widows get assistance because they believed that people would be more sympathetic to them. In this time, people often looked down on women whose husbands left them or divorced them. Single mothers needed this government assistance because without it, they would have to work all day and they would not have a way to care for their kids. While the government giving mothers pensions seems like a great thing, it was very flawed. A lot of women weren't able to get it, and it often discriminated against minorities, immigrants, poor people, and people with health issues. Progressives also helped protect children by creating juvenile courts. This was meant to protect children from being tried in adult courts and going to adult prisons. Even though they did this, there was often not the proper community programs to help these kids. As well as this, courts often didn't have the proper staff to carry out what they needed to. Immigrant children often faced more challenges because of things like language barriers. There was also limited reforms for workers and people with mental illness. Employers used legal defenses to argue that employees were responsible for all work-related injuries. The time to resolve these issues took a long time, and it was often that workers died before they were ever given any reward. At this time, there were workers' compensations that gave employees an award through a state fund if they were injured on the job. However, the payment schedules for these cases were extremely low. In the Progressive Era, there was also a lot of new programs for people with mental illness. Before this time, there weren't programs in place to help people once they left mental institutions. However, states started creating programs and having social workers help these people with services after they were released. The funding for mental institutions and programs were small, so a lot of people did not get the proper care they needed. During the Progressive Era, there was lots of social programs that were created, but many of them were lacking a lot of things they needed to be successful.